Tonight, a WUSA 9 original that could impact more than 1 million Americans. It's about a prescription drug given to service members, Peace Corps volunteers, federal employees, and world travelers intended to prevent malaria. But investigative reporter Andrea McCarran and photojournalist John Moger show us how it may have done much more.
Do you feel betrayed by the very country you served?
I do, very much so.
They poisoned me, and it was preventable.
Malaria is a real risk.
I would have rather had malaria than the experience that I had.
And I started developing paranoia.
I've not met anyone who was given a warning of the side effects.
Well, that is concerning.
This investigation began with a Facebook message.
I have a story for you if you are willing to listen.
A Marine Corps veteran urged me to look into a drug called mefloquine. Its brand name, Lariam.
It's about this generation's veterans and how we were exposed to the equivalency of Agent Orange.
Since the 1980s, the military has ordered tens of thousands of service members to take mefloquine to prevent malaria. That's a mosquito-borne disease that can kill. It included men and women deployed to Somalia, Iraq, and Afghanistan.
I'm 35 and I get vertigo.
For about a year, I looked like I had Parkinson's.
I have tremors in my hands.
I started having balance problems. I could not stand.
I couldn't talk without stuttering.
I have ringing in the ears that's so bad that I cannot stand to be in a quiet room.
Their experiences were strikingly similar.
I started experiencing some weird noises in my ears.
And they weren't just from veterans.
I took mefloquine when I was traveling to Costa Rica.
Peace Corps volunteers, federal employees, and world travelers had stories too.
It was just one horrifying vignette after another, just bang, 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 one after the other.
Many experienced vivid and disturbing dreams.
I'd be opening a door and someone would be standing there with a knife and would plunge it into my chest. And a child would come walking across the street and would get hit by a bus, to someone being mutilated, someone's, body being cut and sliced, and it just went on and on and on.
Bizarre dreams. Mine were not suicidal. I don't want to go into what they were about, but they were nightmares. Unbelievable.
Some are still too disturbing to discuss.
I don't want to admit what the dreams were about.
I felt just completely devastated, like my soul had been ripped out.
The first warning that mefloquine may cause problems came all the way back in 1989. The World Health Organization issued a report detailing a small number of acute side effects, both psychiatric and physical.
To be honest with you, nobody knew what I had until 2013 when the FDA issued an alert about this drug.
That alert, a black box warning from the Food and Drug Administration. It's the FDA's strictest measure put on prescription drug labels when there's evidence of a serious hazard.
We have a hidden epidemic of veterans who are suffering the chronic neuropsychiatric effects of mefloquine poisoning.
In our search for answers, we turn to the doctor widely considered the world's expert in the potential side effects of mefloquine.
In many cases, they're being misdiagnosed with conditions such as post-traumatic stress disorder.
The paranoia, severe anxiety, and other symptoms mimic PTSD and traumatic brain injury.
I'm being seen for anxiety, I'm being seen for depression, I'm being seen for vertigo and ringing in my ears and all of these things. And I'm thinking that this is just what happens when you go to war. You always come back with something.
There I was performing mission planning for Special Forces inserts into Baghdad in southern Iraq, and I'm on a hallucinogen. That was crazy.
This is not a problem that the enemy forced upon us. This is a problem that we created ourselves.
They were warned of the dangers of malaria, but not the potential side effects of this powerful drug.
They knew. Why else would you hand it to me in a bottle with no warning? Why would you hand me something that you didn't put my name on? You put my name on everything.
If that in fact did not occur, that they simply received a medication with no counseling from any healthcare provider, that would fall outside of the policy that was established by DOD.
Does the VA know the long-term effects of mefloquine?
I don't know that anyone knows for sure what all those long-term effects are.
So mefloquine is on your radar.
It is on our radar, absolutely.
But in some cases, even the VA's own doctors don't seem familiar with the potential impact of mefloquine.
And they look at me like I have horns growing out of my head.
People are falling through the cracks.
We are always seeking to do better.
I feel as if a confidence was betrayed.
Years after the use of mefloquine, there is no medication that will change any kinds of effects that have occurred. There is no specific mefloquine toxicity treatment protocol. It doesn't exist.
Mefloquine is still licensed by the FDA and only available in the United States with a prescription. The manufacturer of the brand name Lariam stopped making it in 2008, but there are still 2 generic versions available. 3 other generic drug makers have discontinued the drug. Leslie?
I feel like I was feeling what they were feeling and communicating. Does the military still prescribe this?
Very rarely, only as a drug of last resort, if a service member can't take one of the alternatives. But quantifying just how many veterans are affected is difficult, if not impossible. That's because in many cases, veterans say the mefloquine they were ordered to take never showed up in their medical records. And Leslie, I'll have much more on that tomorrow night at 11.
Excellent reporting. We'll be watching. All right, as you just saw, Andrea spoke with a lot of people from different professions about this drug. You can watch her extended interviews on our WUSA 9 website or mobile app.